Hello students, simple dialogue rules. Like this is the most fun you're going to have today is watching this really cool video. Okay, so I'm going to go over the rules quickly and then I'm going to show you how to do this assignment. It's very short. It's part of your attendance check today, so please listen up. All right, so basically this is about how do you punctuate dialogue, and the key thing to remember is that there are two parts to a sentence with dialogue. So the two parts, you can see them in red and blue, is the part that your character is saying. So those are the actual words. So like right here. So for example, good morning, crusty crew. That's what Patrick is saying. And then the tagline is how am I describing who is saying it or how that person is saying it. So greeted Patrick excitedly. That we call a tagline. Taglines can be at the beginning, the middle, or the end of a sentence. And where you put that tagline, this blue part about who it was and how he or she or they said it, is the important part, and that determines your punctuation. So there are different rules for different placement of the taglines. Note, though, there can be dialogue without a tagline. So in that case, the punctuation just goes inside the quotation marks always, whether it's a question mark or an exclamation point or a period, and then there's just no speaker or explanation before, middle, or after it. Okay, let's get started. So if you have the tagline at the beginning of the sentence, then you must have a comma right after it, and then put your punctuation inside the quotation mark, whatever it is, like a hug. The quotation marks are hugging it. So the man asked, so that would be the tagline in the beginning right here. Oops, lost my spot there. And then, is your mother home, is the dialogue. Now note that when you have this, you have to capitalize the first letter of that sentence or word. If the tagline is at the end, you have to use a comma, a question mark, or exclamation point, never a period, inside the quotation marks, again, like a hug. But you don't ever use a period here. You put it at the very end. The sentence cannot have two periods. So instead of a period, use a comma, question mark, or exclamation point, depending on what the sentence is saying. The only time you use a period is at the end. So whether or not you have a question mark or an exclamation point or a comma, the sentence will always end with a period because the sentence ends with the tagline. Why do you want to know anyway? Question mark, quotation mark, Andy asked. None of your business, exclamation point. Quotation mark, the man shouted, period. Now notice, you do not capitalize the next part of the sentence unless it's a proper noun like Andy. Tagline in the middle of the sentence. This is where it gets just a little bit tricky. You have to use commas to separate the speaker's words. Sometimes you also use a period, and it depends on if you have a complete sentence before and after the tagline. So in the first example, you have a complete sentence before and a complete sentence after. So, I like your new car, comma, Tom said, and then you put a period there. It's like it's the tagline at the end. And then you have another sentence after that. So you start again. It's really cool, period, quotation mark. The other way to do it is if you interrupt the sentence with a tagline. So I like it too, comma, James replied, comma, because note right here, this I like it too because it goes really fast is a whole sentence. It's not two sentences. So when you have two sentences, you have to put a comma here after the tagline, not a period. So again, the distinction is if it is one whole sentence, like if you could have a whole sentence without this tagline, then you put commas. If they're two separate sentences interrupted by a tagline, then it's a comma and then a period. Okay, one last thing to remember, and that's just that every time you have a new paragraph, you have a new speaker. We'll talk more about that later, but your worksheet on the page 3 for this practice is to put the proper punctuation in the dialogue examples below. And all of these examples are taken from the book we just read, Just Mercy. So again, remember where the tagline is will determine the punctuation placement and see above for the rules. So for this one, you would say like I said, and it's the beginning. So if I look at my tagline rules at the beginning, it says that I put a comma and then the punctuation at the end inside the quotes. So in this case, I would say, I said, comma, I think those cuffs are too tight. Can you loosen them, please? That's a question. So then I put a question mark at the end. All right, that's it. So complete those. I think there's 7 short questions, and there's tagline at the beginning, end, and middle. Good luck, and Dropbox this one finished. Then you need to work on your narrative story arc, and that is also due today. Have a great day.